Hello, this is the Tampa Bay chapter of the IBA. Today is our 174th class, and we have the pleasure of having BreanneCasteel here. She's going to be talking about successful navigation from BA to business architecture. My name is Thea Soren. I serve as the president of this IBA chapter. In fact, this week I celebrate my 1 year as president. With nearly 30 years of experience in business analysis, I've spent almost half that time leading various IBA chapters. I was fortunate enough to be one of the contributors to the Business Analysis Body of Knowledge 3.0, and we are close to publishing the second in a series called Business Analysis Bridging the Gap Across Industries. It's a guide for business analysts wanting real case studies and entering new industries. If you don't know, this is the IBA. For newcomers to the International Institute of Business Analysis, we serve as the global governing authority for business analysts. With approximately 30,000 members, 122 chapters around the globe, with Argentina and Denmark joining this last month, and 7 certifications, we at the IBA are passionate about improving the world one business, one project, and one life at a time. What are the benefits of being an IBA member? You can access training provided by chapters around the world. You have complimentary access to 11,000 outstanding books, including the BABOK, along with webinars, audiobooks, and additional resources. You get networking opportunities available in various formats, and you get discounts on the certification exams. The IBA has chapters around the world and in most major cities. If there isn't an active chapter near you, or if you want to start a chapter near you, we can talk. Or you're welcome to join the IBA in Tampa Bay. Members of the Tampa Bay, Florida chapters aren't restricted to the residents of Florida. In fact, our members hail from all around the globe. So if you do not have an IBA chapter, Tampa Bay could be your chapter. This is the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter, and this is our board. These are the folks who work behind the scenes for your benefit, and we appreciate them working so diligently to keep us going. In fact, I want to announce that this month our chapter celebrates 17 years of excellence, and it only gets better from here. Our vision here at the Tampa Bay IBA is to build a thriving community of empowered business analysts. Why would you choose to join the Tampa Bay chapter? We offer multiple training sessions each week, including CBAT prep, coaching, and we build relationships with beneficial partners, all to benefit our participants. You can view the upcoming events on our website and the events posted across LinkedIn and Facebook. And by the end of this year, we will have put on about 200 events from 2021. Almost all of those events are available on YouTube, and you can get at the index of all of those recordings here at Bob's Amazing Index at rpchurchill.com, thanks to Bob Churchill. Over the last year, we've held or participated into over 100 events, mentored over 60 individuals, and half of our members hold IBA certification. We've been running classes to help you and our participants grow and gain their own certifications. These students of those classes have reached out to tell us that our training was a big part of their success in achieving their certification. Of the 21, 11 have gone on to lead or volunteer at IBA chapters here and around the world, further demonstrating that they value what they've received from this chapter. Speaking of students, we're looking for students who want to graduate college with a way to differentiate themselves from all the others graduating in their graduating class. Student members receive full access to IBA resources, including the BABOK guide, webinars, member pricing for certifications, and more, just like professional members. However, the fee to join for a full-time student is substantially reduced. We want to give a shout out to all of our partners. Let me back up there. The number one partner group, though, is you, the IBA members and those who participate with our chapter. We partner with over a dozen other IBA chapters worldwide and 2 chapters that are just forming in Oklahoma City and Houston. If you need contacts with any chapter anywhere, let me know. We've also partnered with the DOBAC group based in the UK and these in the Tampa Bay area. Our goal, as always, is to elevate our BA community. We partnered with several recruiting services and training companies for your benefit. And as a result of that, we have some information for you. The Apex Systems, they regularly offer free courses that cover a wide variety of topics. The AI prompt book is coming up in the mid next month. Next week, the Product Ownership Analysis Study Group for the IIBA CPOA certification will be starting with the Bluegrass chapter. You can register at the Bluegrass website. Skills Development Group offers webinars and so many other resources. We encourage you to check out their website. And tomorrow, Friday, Estrevo is beginning the Systems Thinking course. Many in management understand the value systems thinking brings to an organization. This is your opportunity to elevate yourself and stand out. You can register for this at the Bluegrass Chapter's IBA site as well. Again, benefits of our partnerships to you. Watermark Learning offers you a 40% discount using this code. This means you can get unlimited access to the 1,200 question CBAT practice test with a 40% discount. Adaptive US, that specializes only in business analysis, offers our participants a 20% discount on all live classes and on-demand courses, excluding the IBA exam vouchers. Adaptive does have an impressive guarantee. If you take a certification course from them and don't pass the test, they'll pay for you to retake it. And if you don't pass it a second time, they'll pay for you to take it one more time. They really stand behind what they do. So here is IBA news that you can use. The ECBA test changes have taken place. So if you're studying for the test now and you're looking online for resources, please verify you're studying for the current test. The Global Business Analysis Day virtual event is October 31st and November 1st. It's a 24-hour worldwide event. It's going to have information being presented from people from all different aspects of business analysis. It's a really cool thing to watch being a business analyst in France and Belgium and then Brazil and Hawaii. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. We know that there are jobs out there and we know where the talent is. If you have a job coming up, reach out to me and I'll play matchmaker to get you some qualified individuals to your desk. We know that this works because at least one of the people we've connected has obtained a job. And to do something more tangible to help our community find the jobs, I created an open group on LinkedIn. I literally post dozens of jobs here daily from my network of 16,000 connections as well as emails. We now have almost 800 members in this group. You are invited to add the jobs that you see posted on LinkedIn, and you're welcome to peruse it as you wish. Tonight, we have the pleasure of Breanne talking about successful navigation from business analysis to business architecture. I'm really excited to hear this talk, but I'm going to make her wait for just a minute while I talk about what's coming up in the near future. Next week, I'm going to be presenting the SDL Experience Workshop. This is going to be specifically for the people who are either interested in putting on a workshop or have signed up for our workshop. This workshop, our enrollment is full. It filled up in 24 hours. We have 40 participants, we have 30 observers, and we have 16 mentors. This is going to go from August 7th through October 16th, every Thursday night from 7 to 8. It's going to be virtual, and we're going to explore the phases of SDLC in real time. The benefits of this is that you're going to get experience. You're going to learn the real world project. You're going to actually create a project. You're going to learn what the team roles are and what the different responsibilities are and how you work together. You're going to create project artifacts. We're going to build a collaboration, feedback skills, and confidence. You're going to see mentors that know what they're doing coming in to help you and lead you and act as product owners. In this, we're going to go through all of these different phases 1 week at a time. You're going to have deliverables, and you're going to end up with a website that actually has your product on it, with your team on it, with some of your deliverables on it, and you're going to be able to point to it. We're committed to holding this for at least a year for you so that people can look and see what you did for a year. You can put that on your resume. And now for our presentation, I'm going to turn it over to BreanneCasteel. I keep saying Brianna. Her name is Breanne. So sorry.
I answer to anything. Hey, you works. I mean, it's fine. Absolutely
Okay.
fine. All right, I will go ahead and share. All right. You see it okay?
We can see it. Thank
I
you.
want to see my people too. I like knowing I'm talking to actually human beings instead of I talk to myself all the time, so I'd rather talk to human beings. Just letting you know. You guys are more interesting. Okay, so I'm very, very excited to present to you guys on business analysis, business architecture, successful navigation. This is from my point of view. Everybody's journey is different, but I just like to tell you some things that maybe I did wrong or maybe some things that work to try to help you. Um, Let me first jump into who the heck I am. I did get the opportunity to speak to this chapter, I think back in January, I believe on business rules, but I came up through computer science, went into business analysis, loved my time there, still love it. I'm still doing business analysis, to be honest with you. Moved into business architecture. I followed the pain point trail and why I was on the journey that I'm at, which I will dive into because it will make sense of my navigation here for you as well. Okay, what the heck are we going to be talking about? I want to cover what business architecture is first, high level, some similarities between the two that I've learned, my journey, lessons learned, pointers to get started if that is something for you. Most importantly, what I found, I'm getting a lot of questions and I'm hearing a lot of statements, if you've heard this or seen it, that business architecture is the next notch, next career path for any business analyst. I will say it at the beginning, that is not true. I will say it in the middle, and then I will come around in the conclusion and tell you it is not true again, just in case somebody missed it. But it is for some people. So that's why I kind of want to be clear of what it is and what the scope is to see if you're passionate about it. Now, my ask of you guys during these 45-ish minutes next is, yes, you can listen to my journey. It's wonderful and amazing. Of course, I have to say that, but engage to see if this is for you. But even if not, even if you know, man, I love business analysis and I want to sit here and I'm happy being here, that is amazing. What I hope you take out of it then is understand where business architecture fits and that every organization should have it. So it'll kind of tell you about the collaboration points a little bit as well. So either one works for me. Okay, jumping right in, because I do want to leave questions. So please also, I don't think we talked about that when everybody was on, but if you have questions along the way, please feel free. This is a kind of take your own journey, build your own journey. I have about 40 minutes of content, but I can shorten the end if needed, but I want to make sure you guys get out of it what you want from this presentation. So please come off mute, whatever you want to do, interrupt me if you need to. So, how the heck did I hear business architecture? Because I did not even know it existed even probably 5 years ago, being totally honest with you guys. It did grow from frustration at the delivery level. A lot of course, business analysis works at the delivery and initiative level. We had frustrations of changing priorities. If anyone's been thrown into a project and you're going full steam, elicitation, sprint work, and then all of a sudden it comes down from the powers that be that you're going to redirect. You have to move on to something else. Yes, it's called being agile, but sometimes it's frustrated because it depends on the size of your project. Yep, I see some people are agreeing. Okay, so frustrations is why I kept looking, following the pain points there. Now I put on here strategy analysis. I know, Thea, you said about the CPOA. I did go down CPOA or certification as well. But what I learned for relevance to business architecture is strategic analysis. And I got that from the AAC training. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and get certified for this, but at least read the Agile extension if you're interested at all in business architecture. No, it is not part of business architecture. No, it's not in the BizBach guide, the business architecture body of knowledge. But my experience exponentially will help you see if this is interesting to you or even how to be a good, again, my opinion, business architect. From that strategy level research, then I found business architecture. We were talking about BBC a little bit ago, talked to Roger Burlton. I came back then from the conference, put together a huge slideshow of, I had points on there, which I can help anybody on if you're looking to actually get it implemented in an organization. I have a complete separate presentation for that to help you out. But I did propose it and it was approved the following year. So that is kind of my journey. I'm going to punch into a couple of these points a little bit more as I go on, but this is just the really high level in here. Okay, jumping in. These, for anybody who hasn't seen what this is, are the 3 horizons for business analysis. This is from the Agile extension of the BABA. So I love this picture here because it talks about, yes, the horizons, right? Strategy, initiative, and delivery, and what each should be doing in those horizons, but also the arrows between them are key. And I know it should go without saying, but sometimes in an organization, people love staying in their bubbles and they don't communicate. And that's what I was like, yes, this is what we're missing. We are missing the communication between all 3 levels throughout all of them. So what did I do with this? This is great. Okay, we have a strategy, initiative, delivery horizon. This is great. I did not learn it just to pass a test. What I did is I took it into the organization I was working with at the time. It was a small, I say small to medium, but it was probably a smaller organization. By small, I mean about 2,500 employees. So if you could kind of base that against maybe your organization, what size it may be. What I did with this is I took it and made a process flow of, okay, I know these things need to happen. Now, what does that look like inside our organization? So before I show this flow to you, though, I do want to preface it with every organization will be different. So please don't take this as me telling you that this is prescriptive, you have to do it this way and it will succeed. Please take it and you could make it be fit your own organization. Okay. And I'll tell you specifics of what I'm talking about here in a second. Okay. On here, you see, I mapped it to the 3 horizons on the right-hand side, strategy, initiative, and delivery. I always put the pink, I added that down below because that was something that we needed at that organization to intentionally add in stages for training, support, UAT, because so many times people just, or organizations run from, yep, we've done it, now let's just deliver it. And that is really missing that dip below there. So for this exercise, you can just ignore that if you want to. But then you're going to see I put people. Okay, so underneath strategy, I put business architect, initiative, PO, BA solution team. Okay, now this is what I'm saying may not work for your organization. What I am absolutely not saying is at the strategic horizon for business analysis, I'm not saying that needs to be a business architect. Remember, this is a small organization. So we did not have the manpower to have a business analyst at each of these levels. So I had to make do and fit roles that we had into this to make sure people were doing intentionally. So hopefully that makes sense there, that I'm not saying every organization this would match. So just kind of make it be what you want it to be. Each of these also, Thea, you were talking earlier about detailed of high level and then going into more detailed level diagrams. You're going to see a plus sign by the initiative horizon area. I had a more detailed process flow map. This is not legitimate process, right? But for each of these horizons then and who does what. So they did go into more and more detail each one. Kind of cool, though, I want to point out, in case it's helpful to anybody, it was to me. On the right-hand side, I just put some more information for people to see on the screen of what is it that we do at each of these? What are the requirements levels? And maybe the backlog, we use JIRA, okay? So for strategy, impact analysis, right? Going down to initiative, minimal marketable product analysis, capacity planning, go down then project management. So as you move down, there's different priorities that you focus on. Requirements is a big one, especially as an analyst, right? So we do have the different levels, business, stakeholder, and solution. This was very important to me that This is enabling the BA that sits at the initiative and delivery horizon that you are handing them business level requirements, really high level, right? We're not going into stakeholder solution yet, but at least we should be identifying what the business needs out of this initiative. Why the heck are we even doing it? So many times we start an initiative and we don't even have that. So this was just bringing to light some of those needs that we're missing that we did in our organization. So the reason that I put this together and I was showing it to people, yes, for my own knowledge, right here, we were missing the strategic horizon. So this came from the pain points of the analysis that I did of, guys, we're really suffering at the initiative and delivery horizon because we're not doing the tasks needed at the strategic horizon. So you could probably look at this and go, I thought you were going to talk to me about business architecture. Why the heck are you talking to me about business analysis? I know all this. If you do, great. But I wanted to draw the line into business architecture from here and how business architecture can even help this. Even if it's not your business architecture architect that does the strategy horizon, I feel they should. They should start some of this, like the business level requirements. Me as a business architect, I do that. So not saying every architect would. Okay, what is business architecture? There are a lot of words on the screen, but what I would really hope you guys can do, and only some have cameras on, so I'm going to see how many people do it, is close your eyes. I want to paint you a picture. You guys are amazing. I love you. Okay, so business architecture. Forget about all the words here, but we're all sitting in a building right now. Unless you're in a car, then we'll think of a car architect. But let's just say we're all sitting in a building. There's an architect that builds these blueprints, right, of the building. You could see it now on a flat piece of paper. There's the foundation of the building, there's the walls, where they're going to go, how are they going to be oriented, where is the plumbing going to go, the electricity. Okay, so you could see that picture, right, of the building. That is what a building architect does. Okay, open your eyes. Now you all know what a business architect does, right? Just kidding. Okay. But it is that for a business. All right. So if you can kind of think of it as what does a business do? That is their capabilities. Why are they even in business? That's their value streams. What value are we providing to the business? So yes, there's 4 main domains of business architecture, and I have a graphic of that in the appendix if anybody wants to see it. But above and beyond the information concepts, the capabilities, the organization units, and the value streams, and it maps to all the other stakeholders initiatives. Yeah, there's mapping, right? The important thing of business architecture is it looks across the whole business. It is the whole business, no matter what, whole ecosystem, and it maps the what you do, the why you do it, and who does it. Now, powerful thing about business architecture is then it cross maps all of those things, because then if you know who the org units provide value to the customer and when, and then you go, oh, we want to take that feature away. We want to blow down that wall in this building. Okay, business architect, can you tell me if this is possible? What impact is that going to have on my business? Oh, if you blow down that wall in the building, that's a load-bearing wall. Your whole building is coming crashing down, right? If you don't have somebody looking at your business to know those impacts because they have all that and can piece it together, you're not going to be making informed, intentional decisions within the context that it needs to be done. So I hope, yes, this is not, it's this, and this has to map to here, but that is the big picture of what business architecture is and the importance of it. So hopefully that helps you guys there. And again, anybody have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. So excuse me if I'm too passionate. So business analysis versus business architecture here. I have business analysis on the left, business architecture on the right here, and just some differences. The top few rows, tell me the differences here. Depth versus breadth. I understand strategic analysis would kind of be blurring the lines of these two. So for sake of argument, let's just think I'm talking initiative and delivery BA, okay, versus business architecture. So depth of business analysis and how it differs from enterprise architecture. I have another slide in the appendix if we have time at the end too. I would love to show you that. So somebody please bring me back to that, if you will, at the end. Great question. I do have an answer. But breadth versus depth. Again, business architecture over the whole, business analysis, you are concerned about what you're working on at the time and making sure that it's delivering value for the customer. Okay. Project outcomes versus strategic alignment. Kind of goes without saying, strategy versus project here. Project roadmaps, backlog, strategy roadmap. You know, the one thing that I want to say on here is about alignment. When we talk about know the business architecture should exist to every organization, even if you don't want to be one, this is very important here because strategy roadmap versus project or backlog roadmaps, your business architect should be able to give you transparency into the strategic roadmap, and you can align that to your project and backlog roadmaps. If you don't have that, you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and why it's prioritized the way that it is. But if you do have that alignment and up to the strategy, you will get those answers. Do business architecture reevaluate strategies or roadmap? Business architecture, do they actually evaluate strategies? See, actually, I'm going to jump to the bottom one to answer that question. A neutral, trusted advisor and a liaison between the business and IT. Business architecture kind of sits the same. Those are similarities between the two as business analysts in that we do not make the decisions. Okay, we don't tell the strategic people what they should be doing. We don't tell them how to prioritize things. What we are is a trusted advisor to say, hey, I see, you know, it's either reactive. Okay, we see what they're kind of coming down the path and we look at the map, right, and say, okay, yes, this will have a large impact, not an impact. Maybe our investment money that we wanted isn't aligning with the initiatives that we're doing. So there's kind of disalignment there. We advise them of what we see. Or proactive, what I love about business architecture, but it takes a mature business architecture practice, and not all businesses even have that. Proactive business architecture can more influence strategy. And by influence, again, I do not mean that they actually create the strategy, but they can influence going, okay, this is what I've seen in the analysis. This is, I think, where we should be going. It's still not up to decide that, right? It's still up to the senior advisors, up to your C-suite managers and whatnot to actually make those decisions, but we advise that. And then if they don't listen and the building comes down, well, then we can secretly say, I told you so, but not out loud. And say it under your breath. Let's move on to requirements. We already touched on, right? Solution versus business. It's just that there's different levels of them. And portfolio delivery versus portfolio optimization. This is something I'm working on right now. Bola, you would love this. We should talk. I'm actually implementing the strategy to execution whole thing of strategic portfolio management at this organization I'm at now, which is amazing. It's huge. But portfolio optimization is where I'm ingesting myself to say, hey, we can help you here with this optimization of it. So again, not telling them what the portfolio needs to be doing and when, but just advising them. Okay. Boring stuff. Why did I move into business architecture? If you want a little view into my life here, because at this point in time, as I said, I did bring it back. I said, hey, proposed we add it in organization. This is what the organization will benefit from having it. It was accepted. Wonderful. I had a choice, to be honest with you guys. Just because I proposed it and they accepted did not mean I had to step into that role. I was not certified at the time. I could have at the time, I did have an opportunity. I could have become a product owner. I could have stayed as a BA, or I could have gone into business architecture. I had a choice. Me, I have a mindset. I need to continually learn and grow. Otherwise, I think I'm just probably going to roll over and die. That's just my mindset. The fixing the pain points, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm following the pain points. I knew the frustration of our development team. So maybe I'm a control freak. I don't know. You guys can actually judge me. I don't care. But if it wasn't me that was going to fix these pain points, even though I knew business architecture could help, would I be able to trust some outsider coming in to fix the actual pain points that this was meant to fix? Or would they put in business architecture and just do with it what they wanted? So, yes, I have issues. I'm just laying them bare for you guys. The the challenge in here is it was very challenging. I knew nothing about business architecture. I didn't. I knew kind of the picture that I told you guys at the time. Could I have even explained that to you? Heck no. Someone had asked me what business architecture was, and I would stumble my way through it. I did not have my elevator speech, anything. So it was way out of my comfort zone. Um, my the benefit, though, was falling back in that last flag is really important. That strategic thinking was, again, falling back on that strategic thinking and strategic analysis that I learned in that AAC was key. It was absolutely key. That got me going, okay, I feel I know enough that I could provide value. So that's what kind of kicked me into, okay, I'm going to try this out. What's the worst that can happen? This is where I want you guys to sit back and look inward to yourself, because everybody is different. Okay. Really truthful, know your passions, your inner self. Now, these are truths about business architecture. This is not just me. I've talked to a ton of business architects, work with a ton of them now in my current organization. These are truths, but everybody's different. You will react to these a little bit different. Okay, so you may be a self-starter. And I say may because depending on the size of the organization, you may be the only business architect. That's what happened to me when I started in my previous organization. I know a lot of other business architects, they are a sole practice of one. Okay. Others will have teams, and that's a little bit better, but I just want you to know some organizations you will be alone. You have to have the ability to dig in and summarize. And by that, I know everybody on this call knows how to dig in, right? That's what we do as BAs. Summarize is not easy for everyone. I had to learn how to do it. I don't know if we have classes on that, but it's what is important for the person I'm speaking to. And when you're speaking to a C-suite person, a manager, they want to know, I don't care that you dug in and got the analysis on this and you spent a week getting all of this to propose to me so I can make an educated decision. Guys, they don't care. It sounds rude. They don't care. They want to know, give me 2 bullet points so I can make my decision and move on because I have other stuff I need to make a decision on. That was hard for me because I wanted them to go, oh my gosh, you did so much good work. Yeah, that's not the people we're talking to anymore. So pace. Cruise liner, it's not a speedboat. So what I mean by this is if you're going down ocean, lake, whatever body of water, if you're on a speedboat, you are moving really fast, but you can also pivot faster, right? You could change direction. If you're going to deliver something in a sprint and you go, oh, this is not going to work for the stakeholder group. Now we're going to change this requirement to be this. You could really quick make those changes. Business architecture is not. If you need to make a change, it is a lot higher level for the organization. You need to get a lot more people on board. It is a lot slower to turn the ship. Okay, the level then, moving down into the level, it is a lot bigger picture. Ecosystem, of course, it is not in the weeds. Again, that's the strategy delivery horizon difference. You're not in the weeds there. The pace and the level, I wanted to share a little information with you that I got from a mentor that I had when I had that choice, as I let you guys know. I could have gone into business architecture. I could have stayed in the delivery realm. And I sat down with our CIO at the time, and he knew my work. I've worked with him a long time. And I go, what do you think? I just want your thoughts. Not that he was making up my mind. I want your input. your opinion, right? Will I be happy? Is this for me? Because he's worked at a lot of bigger organizations that have architecture, so he knew a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two. Yes, I know I had to finish that. Um, and he had to, I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
he looked at me and he goes, "Nope, you won't be happy." And I was like, "Whoa, I thought everyone just told me what I wanted to hear all the time, right? Crap, this isn't my mom anymore." But he goes, "No, because I know you love to be in the details. You love to be moving fast and making decisions and seeing change, right? I'm all about agile." He said no. And that was really informative to me. Yes, I made the decision. I did go into business architecture, but I will tell you guys, he was right. And yes, I have told him many times he was right. I love to give credit where credit's due. Um, but there's been many times where I did this huge framework. I mean, business architecture, right? You're working a lot higher level and I took months, I took 3 months to put something together and presented it that I knew the business would need. And they looked at it and go, "Yeah, no, we can't do that. That's maybe this one piece, but not." I mean, it was just, so it happens. And then of course, that's a whole another presentation about how I actually got my way anyway. But you know, then that's the skills. That's going to move me into the skills here. But collaboration, a lot of these are the same as business analysis. Okay, collaboration. We need to have collaboration. Passion, persistence, and patience, I will say, are very, very key to the business architecture role. Because you are a cruise liner, if I may, you have to have that passion and persistence and patience. Those are key. If you take away anything with this, if you're not passionate about business architecture, you don't think you will, please just don't. Be honest with yourself so you're happy in life. Empathy, and of course, collecting and connecting the dots. We all do that. Let's see, I'm trying to read at the same, is your position part of IT or the business? Business architecture succeeds the most, just like business analysis, in my opinion, if you're reporting to the business. Now, I do understand some are under IT, both in business analysis and business architecture. Some even like to change the terms, the words. I was mentoring somebody earlier this week. I said, be careful, because they were trying to get her to do process work, for example. And I was like, yeah, that's not part of business architecture. So every organization is going to try to mold it to be what they want it to be. But if you're being true to what business architecture is, it needs to be under the business. So that is not just my opinion. That's my mentors and everything. So it does work out best there. You can make it work if you're under IT. It just takes a mindset person to go, I'm not IT focused only. I'm here for the business. So it really depends on that. Lessons learned in here. You will continually build awareness. And what I mean by this, if you're starting the practice, yes, of course, you're like 90%. You're talking about business architecture and what the value that it could bring, always bring what's in it for me, right? But even after that, so I'm in a business now that has had business architecture for over 10 years. I am still selling the practice and myself to that about what value it can bring, because you have turnover. You have different departments coming up and changes in the org structure. People don't understand what business architecture can do. Maybe they worked with a business architect in a previous life and it wasn't really, maybe they were a process manager, for example. So you always have to build that awareness. Just want to be honest with you. Speak in the business terms, always not architecture terms. Man, you guys, this one is hard for me because I get excited when I learn something new, like business capabilities, value streams, and we can cross map the processes and go over here and do this. They don't care. They don't care. But if you speak in their terms, the business terms, then you'll get their buy off. And then you go behind closed doors and do your mapping and do your architecture stuff, right? But you are there to represent and provide value to the business, because that's why we exist. Oh, this one is so good, especially coming from business analysis. Be careful on getting pulled into the details of an initiative. I did this. Another example is one of my first initiatives as a business architect was to implement a new ERP system. I think every organization I talk to is always in an ERP transformation for some reason. Not sure why. But yeah, that business was as well. And so I got through all the business requirements and was working with the implementation partner, had all the architecture stuff done. Then I go, man, I already know my stakeholders. I already know the business requirements. I'm going to go into the stakeholder requirements. I'm going to do a elicitation here. I'm going to do this and this and this. And I had to stop myself. And it was hard for me to do. Maybe you guys would be better at it than I was. It was hard for me because that was my comfort zone. I was falling back into my comfy pillow, right? Going, I know how to do this work. I trust this work. But yes, when I moved into architecture, an analyst came and replaced me. So I had to trust them to do their job. I had to enable them, as a business architect should, I had to enable the business analyst to be able to do their job and do it well because of what I have provided to them. And then even as a business analyst, every mentorship I do, I please say, give yourself grace. And yes, I'm speaking into a mirror every time I say this, but life is hard. Learning is hard. Maybe 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but you're still making forward progress. So it sounds corny, but please just give yourself grace, but please keep pushing forward. Um, Business architecture today, how's the business architecture day-to-day work look like? I will come back to that one because that will take a little bit longer to answer, but I would love to answer that one as well. Getting started, I'll kind of breeze over this so we have time for questions a little bit, but pull from your strategy analysis knowledge. I've already said that. Utilizing the learning resources. I have another slide that I'm going to provide some learning resources for you guys. The next 2 are very important, so I want to touch on these for a little bit. Lead with value and certified later. I get asked this question a lot as well, and I just want to reiterate this point, but it's because you navigate your journey. So lead with value leads into start with your pain points. When I started in business architecture, it is so big, which Sarita, if I'm saying your name right, kind of goes to your question about what does a day in the life look like. It depends. That's the famous answer. I know people hate it, but it does, because if you are listening to your people and their pain points, that is the value that you are going to provide to them. You know, just because you want to go back and map some value streams and people and processes over here, that doesn't mean you're actually providing value. So you have to be able to go, okay, I have some downtime. Let's go talk to these stakeholders, especially your managers. And you can start this as a BA right now. Okay. So even if you don't know anything about business analysis, you have your stakeholders for projects. Look up a level or 2 and start going, okay, what is my manager worried about? What is the CIO worried about? Like, start listening to them, take an initiative, an interest in their feelings. What keeps them up at night? They love to answer that question, you guys. But then they're like, whoa, this person's actually listening. Wonder what they're going to do about it. Then you go back and research and go, hey, I heard these pain points. I think we can do this. What do you think about that? You're opening the door for yourself, not just to help with even your strategy analysis or your business architecture or whatnot. Guys, you're helping yourself too. Get out there. That leads me, Bola, to a post you just did about network and get your name out there, right? This is a perfect example for getting your name out there to people that may promote you later. So start taking an interest in them and ask what's in it for them. So pain points, and then provide that value to them. You do not need to be certified in order to provide value. You need to be able to talk to people, listen to them, find out what's in it for them. You may not know how to solve their problems, okay? But this is where you start to network with other people, maybe that do have an answer, can point you down the right road. Oh, go read this piece of, or have you looked into this? That's when you start learning, okay? So start with that value. The next 3 points, I'm not going to go into too much. The one with the asterisks about standing up a practice in architecture, start with governance, breadth first, and then iterate down. I have a whole other presentation on how to do that I'm more than happy to share with anybody if and when you do want that. But there's other things you should take into account, and it's really in depth. And then tracking your value. I could go into this and along and give you examples, but I don't want to run out of time here. But I would just say, even as a business analyst, please start tracking your value. And by value, I mean, what did you hear from your stakeholders? What outcome did you have of this sprint review, of this retrospective? Start tracking that, because that's going to help you as you go back, because we move so fast and we go, oh, I don't think I did anything last year when it comes to quarterly reviews, right? Because you're always looking forward. If you're like me, I don't have time to turn around and see what I did. But just I personally, I'm in a spoiler alert, I have it on my calendar of the last Friday of every month, and I have it on my calendar at the end of the tomorrow that says track your value. So as I go through my month, I just kind of throw some stuff, some notes out there. But at the end of the month, I have intentional time that I go back and say, these were the outcomes. There, it might be 2 or 3 bullet points, if that. Go put it on a separate Word document. It doesn't, something that you have, so that you can start pulling from it yearly, quarterly, and track your value there and learn from it. Okay, I've said too much on that, but please track your value. Learning resources, you can take a picture of this. I'm more than happy to provide the slide deck to you guys as well. But Agora Insights is amazing, Business Architect Mastery, and the Guild, of course. Please do not go out and just read the BizBook. You will probably gouge your eyes out. It is 900 pages of absolute boredom. And I'm honest with you, I've spoken to many, many, many architects, even myself. I have not read it cover to cover. Okay. You dive into the pieces that you need, but that's where the learning resources, Agora and BizArch Mastery, come in handy, is that you don't need to know it front to back. They pull out the most important pieces and put it in a way you can understand. So if you want to know more, here's some resources and books. If you love reading, Roger Burlton, Wendy Keene, there's some books here as well that I highly, highly recommend. So again, tell me if you need, but I'll share this with you guys too. But okay, moral of the story, and then I'm going to come back to some of the other questions. Important to know you and your passions. Please, again, I said I was going to end with it. I began with it. It is not the only path, only career path, and it is not for everyone. Luckily, I had a mentor that told me flat out, no, you're not going to like it. Now, I made my own decision. I made my own bed. I'm living with it. I'm making it my own journey, and I kind of like it. Had to make some changes in my life, but I kind of like it now. So, but it's not for everyone. So no, it does provide value, and it should be in every business. It really should be. And then I'm here. I love talking to people. I learn from you guys as much as hopefully I could share even a little nugget with you guys to learn from, but I learn by having conversations with people. So I am always open. If you're on LinkedIn or whatnot, please let me know if you have any questions later on too. So with that, here's my LinkedIn if you want to find me in there. Questions.
We have several
Which
questions in the chat.
EA? Can I
I-
jump to the EA question?
Sure.
Is that okay? And then I'll have you see if I missed any, of course. I apologize. But let me jump to, no spoilers here. There we go. Okay. What is enterprise architecture? Enterprise architecture is an umbrella, okay? I right now, if you look me up on LinkedIn, you're going to be like, what the heck? I thought you were a business architect. The organization I work for right now calls all of these architects enterprise architects. Very confusing when you have to find one over the other and talk to a certain one, what you're talking about. But anyway, enterprise architecture is really an umbrella that covers enterprise and IT architecture. Now you can see from here that these arrows do not represent hierarchy. Okay, this is not the reason I put this together. So please just know it is an integration and working together diagram, not a hierarchy diagram. But the business architecture takes the business view. If we blow down that wall, we will crumble, right? The why. Why are we even in business and doing what we do, and who does it? And we provide information to the other architects. So IT architecture, you can see over here is app data tech and solution. And they may be called a little bit different in your organization, but these are kind of the standard, I'm missing the word right now, but standard terms. but application, systems, data, tech, and then solution of how we're doing it. So again, I'm not saying solution architecture is at the basement, right? But all of these put together should encompass enterprise architecture from an organization. So some organizations don't even have enterprise architecture. They know it makes up all of these, and there's like a COE with these guys, and that is their enterprise architecture committee, if you will. But different organizations do it different ways, of course. But hopefully that answers that question a little bit. What else do we have? You want me to read, or can people come off mute? Or what do you usually do?
I think it'd be a lot more fun if people came off mute.
Please do. Otherwise, I'm going to go into business rules if we don't have any other.
Saw a question
I
from-
had my questions, but now I wanna know the answer to the question about crying in the shower.
Crying in the shower. Where did that come from?
You have good
Did
friends, apparently.
I know.
Bola's covering
Well,
his eyes.
Bola,
My
did you put
my
something in-
favorite my
Oh,
favorite
you
view of
did.
crying in the shower is the one out of one of the movies, and I'm beating my head against the wall here trying to remember what the name of that movie was.
Yes.
Four
I do
weddings and
still
a
cry in the
funeral.
shower.
Four
Yeah.
weddings and a funeral. That's what it
So
was.
I think we're Bola, because I didn't know if one of you guys went to BBC and heard my other discussion, or I gave it another way, but it was about overcoming struggles to achieve success. And I'm, as you guys probably guess from now, I'm very honest. I will tell you my life story and what I've done wrong, but it was just a metaphor. Well, it's not a metaphor. It's actually true that I'm human and I make mistakes. I get frustrated that, especially as a cruise liner right now, I might cry more than I did as a business analyst. But then you turn around and you go, okay, the next day, pull your bootstraps up, right? And just go, okay, I'm going to dig in and I'm going to get this done. So absolutely, yes, Bola, I still do cry in the shower, but I still do turn around the next day and go, okay, I got this.
So what are the challenges you face in your day-to-day role as a business architect?
You know, I like that question, but if I may, I'm going to rephrase it because challenges, I think, yeah, I have challenges all the time, right? But I don't think of them as challenges anymore. I think of them as opportunities, because every hard spot or going, I need to dig in and do this. Like, I even had to do some data analysis today, right? And that was, is it on a business architect? Should I have talked to the data architect? Absolutely. But if people don't want to do certain things, then you have to do it. So was that a challenge? Yeah, because I had to dig in and do something that I usually don't do, but it was an answer that we needed. But it was also an opportunity for me to learn, how this data maps between systems, and there are discrepancies, and then get the people in the room with the stakeholder, right? We kind of facilitate stuff and get these people in a room to say, hey, we need this data cleaned up. Where's it coming from? Where's our source of record? All this sort of stuff. So I hope that answers your question, but it's every single day is different. Every day. I love it.
Thank you.
You need to move the data architect up. They're more important.
Oh, Cliff.
They're all critical.
I will do that for you.
I'm kidding.
They're all, and I think that's what I try to show with this picture too. And like this, I did not create this, right? There's a bunch of different views on it, but this is just the simplest one. They're all needed, right? If you're missing any of these, somebody else has to pick up the slack, or you have major pain points. So they are all very critical. Absolutely.
Breanne, one of the things that I think is coolest about what you're talking about, I don't think people understand if they haven't been in it. I talked to my first business architect and I said, so tell me the benefit you bring to the organization. You know, I mean, I was putting him on the spot, but I really wanted to understand it. He said, well, if someone wants to take down an application, they come to me first and they say, who's using it? If someone wants to bring in, replace an application, they come to me first and say, who's using it? So, I
Yep.
mean, it's every process, every application. You have the body of the business diagram so well, and you understand it so well that you can say, if you get hit here, this is the impact it's going to have on the rest of your business, which goes down into the value. Do you really want to debilitate that department or that division? Um,
Yep.
and who's having the pain points? You hear about it in a place that other people don't hear about it.
Can I tee up on that? Because this is a great picture of what is business architecture. But you asked me a question at the very beginning, if we have time. And it stems from exactly what you just said about, how everything interacts. And this is like what is in the context of business architecture, right? What maps to it. But this is going to be a little teaser because this is a small subset, what I'm going to show you of what I'm working on for a next presentation. Very small subset, but hopefully you could see this in here. But I've put together a meta model. It's a lot bigger than this, but this really brings into, so you're going to see, value stream, info concept, capability. These are, org units isn't on here, of course, they're kind of represented in stakeholders, but they would go on here. And what is in each of these to how they relate. Now, my big piece of this that is a takeaway, you were asking, like, how does business architecture interact with business rules? Because of course, as you know, I talked about business rules in the past. And that should pull from, of course, your info concept. So you even know what are the terms you're using in your business rules? How are they defined? What are the states? But then it also pulls from your value stream for context, right? So you're going through your data, rules-based routing and requirements. These all flow together. But what I'm trying to do, and like I said, this isn't the full model, but people have seen meta models, and the BizBock even has them, of yes, a value stream is related to an info concept and a capability and data, right? We talk to data architects all the time. Cliff, yes, they're very, very important. But I want to work with data architects to go, this is why you have this data. But this is something that, some data architects just go, don't tell me what data I need. I just know what data I need. I'm like, can I please tell you the info concepts that are here, the states that they are going through the value stream? And I have this blown out in a picture. I'm sorry, we don't have time, but of this info concept, even customer, right? Of going through this value stream and the different states that it has. And so it shows the data people that a prospect customer is not different than an active customer in a data field. They're both a customer. So don't treat them different, but they may have different business rules associated to those states of that info concept, right? So then all of this stuff is so connected and should communicate, collaborate together to get the best picture for your business. And it's more than just this, but this is kind of what I wanted to show you with the business rules, for example.
That is so literally beautiful.
I have Miro boards that I would show you, and I'd love to get your feedback before I present this bigger. So I love collaborating with people. So if anybody wants to get in on this, I'm just putting pen to paper. So well, I'm further longer than that, but it's fun.
Is there still time to ask another question?
We have one more.
Sure.
May I?
Yes.
Okay, so I asked, how do you define the boundaries of the business as business architect? I heard from a couple business architects that sometimes this is a really challenging task.
The boundaries of business architecture, is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
so you are doing the blueprint, like you said, of the business,
Yep.
and how do you define
Yep.
the boundaries of it, the scope of the context? Is it always the same as enterprise boundaries, or it's bigger
It
or
is.
smaller?
It is the ecosystem of the business in its whole. However, true business architecture focuses on the middle four. So capabilities, org, information, value streams. Other organizations might take it out wider to say that, well, you also need to do processes, for example, but we map to it and analyze it across this whole picture. Okay. To get the impact analysis, the investment analysis, right? We map to all of this. But as me as a business architecture, am I in charge of the journeys? No. Am I in charge of the requirements? No. So what scope are you looking at? Is it what I am in charge of or what I need to relate to so I could get you the best answers?
Okay, so this
So
is
this
kind
gives a
of
good
a
picture.
scope of control, right? What can you control as an enterprise, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, if we are talking about value streams, they can be much longer than the boundaries of a certain enterprise, right?
No, value streams encompasses within the enterprise itself.
Oh, really? I thought I
Mhm.
thought they can be longer because they can start like from the supplier, for example.
Yep. And that goes into, and I know this is, we could take this offline too, but organization is part of the business. It's a whole ecosystem. So who even interacts with the business? Your partners and vendors are within the scope of your whole business ecosystem, not just the people that you have under HR in a business architecture. So that's what I mean by value streams encompasses the whole business ecosystem. Who you just said, your suppliers and your whatnot, you won't provide value to your organization if you don't have them. Therefore, they are part of your organization. You
Mhm.
don't
Okay, I
pay
think.
them directly in HR, but yeah.
Okay, thank
Ask
you.
all the COVID companies what happened when they ignored that.
Thank
All
you
right. I
so
digress.
much.
Sorry, I went over time.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you, Breanne. We really appreciate you coming to talk to us about business architecture and giving us a better understanding of it, especially from somebody who's actually doing it. You know, it's not a theory off in the future or something. You're actually boots on the ground. So thank you for doing that. And thanks for being honest and telling us it's not just easy stuff and that it's going to be fun all the time and people will listen to us the first time.
I do cry in the shower. Just remember that.
Okay, guys, next week I'm going to be preparing everyone for the 11-week SDLC event that's coming up. If you're not going to be participating in the event, you can come on and help us figure out, maybe you have suggestions on how we can do it better. But the people that are going to be participating, I really encourage you to come. We're going to hit the ground running and go straight into our teams. We're not going to have a, hey, this is how you do it, hand-holding session. We're going to say, you're going to go into a team and you're going to have instructions. You're going to have written instructions for yourself to give you an idea, but you need to kind of get an idea of expectations ahead of time. That's what next week is for. So I encourage you to participate. It will be recorded for those people who can't participate, and that will be available on YouTube. But I really think you're going to get a lot of value out of this workshop. We're putting a lot of effort into it. So you're going to come and get SDLC experience. You're going to make a real project. Okay. All right, guys. See you. Thank you so much. I will go on to my next class to teach, and y'all have a good evening. Bye, guys.
Night.
Thank you.